He built a fortune, but he couldn't build trust. And that was the cruelest truth about Ethan Cole. People saw the cars, the penthouse, the billion-dollar tech empire he ran with an iron grip, and they assumed he had it all figured out. What they didn't see was the silence, thick, sterile silence that filled every corner of his life. He avoided women, avoided love, avoided even the thought of needing somebody, because to him, love meant weakness. Love meant watching someone walk out and never come back. See, when Ethan was just a kid, his mother packed a bag in the middle of the afternoon and told him she was sorry before leaving with another man. He never forgot that image, her perfume still lingering in the hallway while his father sat there broken, staring at the door she had closed for good. His dad told him, "Never let anyone see you weak, son. That's how they destroy you." Ethan carried that scar like scripture, and by the time he turned 34, he was a machine, successful, sharp, untouchable. But inside, he was starving. Not for food, not for money, but for something he'd sworn he'd never need again. The body always finds a way to remind you what the soul refuses to admit. For Ethan, it came during a routine checkup. The doctor didn't mince words. "You've got the cardiovascular system of a man twice your age. You keep going like this, you'll be dead before 50. Ethan brushed it off at first, but when the doctor leaned in and said, "You can't hack biology, Ethan. You either change your life or you gamble with a stroke," it hit differently. That's how the idea of hiring a private chef came up. He hated it. The thought of a stranger in his house, his kitchen, invading his routine, it made his skin crawl. Still, for once, his empire couldn't save him, so he gave in. The next morning, the elevator doors opened, and in walked someone who didn't fit into Ethan's world at all. Her name was Lila Brooks, a private chef trained in Italy, equal parts nutritionist and artist. She didn't show up in heels or dripping in makeup like the women who used to circle him at charity galas. No, Lila had her curls tied back in a messy bun, a crisp white coat, black flats, and this quiet confidence that felt almost out of place in his glass fortress. She carried her knives like medals of honor rolled up in leather, and when she smiled, it wasn't shy. It was fearless. "Mr. Cole," she said, extending her hand. "You're early," he replied, cold, calculating. "I despise being late," she shot back, then tilted her head. "Besides, I had a small panic you'd cancel last minute, and I'd end up throwing a shoe at your door." For a second, Ethan didn't know how to respond. His lips parted, and before he could stop it, a short laugh slipped out. The sound startled him. He hadn't laughed like that in years. Lila unpacked her knives, eyed the pristine marble counters, and muttered, "This kitchen feels like a morgue." Ethan raised a brow. "It's hardly used." She glanced at him unfazed. "Don't worry, I'll fix that." At first, he kept his distance. He told her flatly, "No experiments. Follow the plan. High protein, low sodium, no surprises." She just smirked, laid out her ingredients, and said, "I cook better with music." Then she hit play on a little speaker, filling the sterile room with soft jazz. Ethan wanted to tell her to turn it off, but he didn't. Something began to shift, slow but undeniable. Every morning, a colorful breakfast appeared on the island by 7:30 a.m. with a sticky note beside it. "Avocados can't fix your blood pressure, but they're trying." Or, "If you skip this meal, I'll find out I have ways." Ethan never replied, but he always ate every bite. He told himself it was about health, nothing more. But the truth. He started looking forward to those notes more than the food. One Thursday morning, he lingered in the kitchen longer than usual. Lila turned, handed him a whisk, and said, "Here, make yourself useful." He frowned. "What am I supposed to do with this whisk?" she answered simply. "I'm not a sous chef. Lucky for us both, you'd make a terrible one." Against his better judgment, he tried. His movements were stiff, surgical, like a man dissecting instead of mixing. Lila leaned closer, teasing, "You're holding it like it's a scalpel. Loosen up, you're not removing eggs, you're beating them." He caught her gaze, caught the mischievous sparkle in her eyes, and for the first time in forever, he felt something crack open inside him. Day by day, Lila pulled him out of the silence he'd built. She sang under her breath while chopping herbs, told him stories about her late father teaching her to cook. And when Ethan asked why she left Michelin kitchens, her voice softened. "I burned out. I wanted to feed people again, not egos. He studied her quietly, realizing she was nothing like the women who haunted his father's memory. She wasn't trying to impress him, she was just real. But real meant dangerous. One stormy night, the power went out. Candles flickered in the kitchen rain, hammered against the glass, and the two of them sat across from each other at the island. For the first time, Ethan admitted aloud, "My father thought he was protecting me, but he was just afraid of being hurt again. I think I've done the same." Lila didn't rush to answer. She simply reached across the counter and placed her hand over his. No pressure, no demand, just there. That single touch burned through years of armor. And that's when Ethan realized the truth. He wasn't numb. He felt everything too much, in fact. He'd just buried it so deep that only someone bold enough, stubborn enough, kind enough could drag it back out. Lila did. But fear is louder than love when it's all you've ever known. When Lila finally confessed, "I love you," Ethan froze. The words hit him like lightning, and instead of staying, instead of holding on, he ran. He left her in that penthouse with nothing but her packed suitcase and a note. "I cooked for your body, but I stayed for your heart. When you're ready to use it, you'll know where to find me." The silence returned, but this time it wasn't his sanctuary. It was punishment. He walked through the halls and still smelled rosemary, still heard echoes of jazz in the walls. The fridge was full of labeled containers she'd left behind, but he couldn't touch them. He sat in his study, rereading a journal his father had left years ago. One line pierced him to the bone. "You think you're protecting yourself when you walk away, but really you're just rehearsing loneliness until it's the only thing you know how to do." That night, Ethan broke. He hadn't cried since he was a teenager, but there in the garage, head pressed to the steering wheel, he finally let go. And when he lifted his face again, he knew he couldn't live like this anymore. A week later, Lila answered a knock at her small apartment door. She expected a delivery. Instead, she found Ethan Cole, no suit, no mask, just jeans, a sweater, and a nervous look in his eyes. He held a clumsy Tupperware container in his hands. "I cooked," he said, voice rough. "I tried that salmon dish with fennel and orange. It doesn't look great, but I didn't burn it." She blinked, speechless. He took a breath. "You were right. Loving you didn't destroy me. Running from it did. I'm not asking you to forgive me today. I'm asking for one more meal, one more chance. You gave me food, and I learned to feel. Now let me give something back. I'm in love with you, Lila, and I'm terrified. But I'd rather be terrified with you than safe without you." For a long moment, she just stared. Then she smiled through tears. "It's terrible," she said, tasting his overcooked salmon. "But I've never loved anything more." Ethan laughed, an unguarded, genuine laugh that filled her little kitchen. And in that moment, they both knew the walls had finally crumbled. 6 months later, the penthouse was alive again. Jazz played softly in the background, the counters cluttered with spice jars, 2 aprons hanging side by side. Ethan chopped clumsily while Lila teased, "Your knife skills are still tragic." He grinned back, "And your French still sounds made up." They kissed over the stove, love tasting like garlic and wine, messy and real. So here's the question. Was Ethan right to build his walls all those years, or was Lila right to tear them down? Do we protect ourselves by shutting people out, or do we destroy ourselves even faster by living alone behind glass? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever pushed someone away out of fear only to realize you needed them most? And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because tomorrow I've got another story that might just change the way you see love, trust, and second chances.